As the old saying goes, don't bite off more than you can chew. Essentially meaning, don't agree to do more than you can actually do. Well,
It's Rex Ryan wrapping up a disappointing first season in Buffalo.
not everyone got that memo, as there have been no shortages of people doing just that in the NFL, and in the process, making some rather lofty claims that come to make them look like the fool. Guaranteeing a victory is one of the ballsiest things that an athlete can do, especially in football, because it is such a crazy sport with so many factors that go into whether a team takes home the W, which makes it all the more insane that players and coaches are willing to stake their reputation in the media and with fans by making guarantees before big games. I mean, that is a lot of unnecessary pressure to put on oneself, at least if you ask a guy like me. That being said, I don't expect this practice to go anywhere. For as long as there are uber competitive freaks running around the NFL, which, spoiler alert, there will be, players will continue to make guarantees. And we'll continue to make fun of the people who have it blow up in their face. So let's get into it and take a look back at 10 of the worst guarantees made in NFL history. There may be no better place to start on this topic than Matt Hasselbeck and the rest of the 2004 Seattle Seahawks, who had one of the most embarrassing failed guarantees that these two eyes ever did see. Seattle had played a hard-fought wildcard game with the Green Bay Packers, and after 60 minutes, the two teams were knotted at 27 points aside. When the captains met at midfield for the pre-overtime coin flip, Hasselbeck made a decision that, little did he know at the time, would quickly become one of the most infamous soundbites in NFL history. The Seahawks won the coin flip, and when the officials asked Hasselbeck, the team's captain, what they wanted to do, he said those fateful 8 words: "We want the ball, and we're gonna score." This is the part of the movie where the narrator would jump in and say, and, well, things did not go according to plan. Seattle did take the ball, but it was actually the Packers who ended up doing the scoring. When Hasselbeck threw a pick six to Green Bay cornerback Al Harris, whose 52-yard return clinched the game for Green Bay 33-27. What a brutal turn of events for Seattle and its quarterback. While Hasselbeck gets somewhat of a pass because his comments were made in a fit of passion during competition, some of the other characters on this list have absolutely no excuse. Like 2 other former Seahawks, Jeremy Stevens and Byron Maxwell. Now, Stevens was an interesting one because his Seahawks actually made it all the way to the Super Bowl. And then he decided to make his guarantee that they would defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The way in which he did it drew some serious ire from the Steelers players because he effectively took a shot at franchise legend Jerome Bettis in doing so. It's a heartwarming story and all that, Stevens said, referencing the fact that the Super Bowl was going to be played in Detroit, Bettis' hometown, and what was supposed to be his final season in the league. But then Stevens threw in this little jab by saying, "But it'll be sad when Bettis leaves without that trophy." Now, unsurprisingly, the Steelers players were fired up by his remarks, including none other than Joey Porter, who told reporters, "You look for the guys that say something that aren't supposed to say nothing. And I feel like he definitely was out of pocket to say what he said. I'm gonna make sure he owns up to those words." Porter and the Steelers got the last laugh too, as they beat Seattle thoroughly by a score of 21-10. Stevens did contribute by scoring Seattle's only touchdown, but that was his only saving grace, as he was held to 2 catches for 9 yards beyond that. Maxwell, on the other hand, wasn't actually a member of the Seahawks when he made his guarantee, but he tried to parlay his success with Seattle into a reason why his new team, the Philadelphia Eagles, were going to win the Super Bowl in his first season with the team. "We're gonna go far this year, meaning the playoffs and the Super Bowl. We're gonna go that far. Hopefully that experience I already had, I can help them," Maxwell said. "You can take that as a guarantee. That's just me believing in my team and the product we're going to put out there on the field. I really do believe that. He went as far as pointing to the fact that the two teams had pretty much the same culture, which is a pretty ridiculous assertion to make considering he hadn't even played a game in an Eagles uniform yet. Unfortunately for Maxwell, his aspirations came up woefully short as the team finished 7-9 and had its head coach Chip Kelly lose his job in the final week of the season. Now next up, we have Anthony Smith, the former Pittsburgh Steelers defensive back who made the foolish decision to try and guarantee a victory over the 2007 Patriots. "We're gonna win," Smith said. "Yeah, I can guarantee a win. As long as we come out and do what we gotta do, both sides of the ball are rolling, and if our specials team comes through for us, we've got a good chance to win." Now, in fairness, Smith did have some reason to be confident, considering the Steelers themselves were 9-3 and they had stopped the Patriots' record 21-game winning streak back in 2004. But in the time since snapping that streak, they had dropped 5 of 6 games to the Pats, including 2 losses in the AFC title game. So, maybe it wasn't worth spouting off about. Actually, no, it definitely wasn't, especially considering he specifically got torched by New England's high-powered offense and his team ended up losing 34-13. To make matters worse, Brady had no problem rubbing it in his face too. Anthony Smith wasn't the only guy to have his guarantee turned on its head by the Patriots. Just ask Rex Ryan, who, after a short bit of success with the New York Jets, started repeatedly guaranteeing Super Bowls at the beginning of every season. Back in February of 2011, Ryan dropped his first one saying, "I believe this is the year we're gonna win the Super Bowl. The fact is, I thought we'd win it the first 2 years. I guarantee it we'll win it this year." Good, confident speak. The only problem, the Jets went 8-8 in 2011 and missed the playoffs. In total, Ryan delivered 3 massive flops of guarantees as the Jets head coach. And what is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills in 2015? A guarantee that he got bonus points for, considering he made it after his 2012 comments about the negative effects that his guarantees have had on previous teams. I knew it would blow up in my face and come down on me if it wasn't successful. But I did not plan on it being a burden on our football team, which it was. Ryan said in 2012, according to an ESPN.com report, "That's why I won't make them." But he just couldn't help himself. The man was downright addicted to writing checks that his team could never cash. While he was one of the loudest about it, Rex Ryan was certainly not the only coach to really put his foot in his mouth by promising results. I mean, think about what John Gruden agreed to a couple of years back, shortly after he left the broadcasting booth to accept a 10-year, $100 million contract from the Raiders to be their head coach. He decided, perhaps as a part of his larger-than-life, egomaniacal persona, that he would make the declaration that if he can't get it done, that he is not going to take their money. Right, John. Right, because everyone who needs a $100 million deal to get lured back out of the cushy broadcasting job is definitely doing it for the love of the craft. And honestly, it was just such an empty guarantee that it's almost embarrassing. I mean, he didn't even bother to define success in the context of his guarantee. Do the Raiders need to make it to the Super Bowl? Win one? Tell us, John. Tell us. I need to know what outcomes to root against so that I can one day watch you break open your piggy bank at Mark Davis's house and give him all of your game checks back. Mr. Not gonna take their money. Give me a break. Save the theatrics for when the Raiders gig inevitably goes south and you tuck your tail between your legs and waddle back to the booth. At least Gruden's guarantee was offhand in an interview, though. It would have been a real shame if he did something embarrassing like, oh, I don't know, take out a full-page ad or something. Cough, cough, I'm looking at you, Ryan Khalil. You and your cringe-soaked letter to the Carolina Panthers faithful about how this was gonna be your year? Even after receiving some criticism for the move, he remains steadfast in it. Every team says it's every year, whether it's publicly or not, Khalil said. We've said it in the past in meeting rooms and behind closed doors. This year's different. There's a sense of urgency, a winning attitude that I haven't seen before, and it's in the way we prepare. Yeah, well, that all sounds nice, but things did not exactly go according to plan there. The Panthers got off to an abysmal start, losing 8 of their first 10 games, and eventually finishing the season at a paltry 7-9. A long ways away from the Super Bowl glory that Ryan Khalil oh so eloquently promised his fans. It was, however, refreshing in some ways to see the guarantee coming from a center. Far too often, it feels like we see the team's quarterback spouting off some nonsense about how their team is ready to take the game home, or win a Super Bowl and all that good stuff, only to have things go haywire rather quickly. We saw it with Tony Romo, Ryan Leaf, and even John Kitna. In Romo's case, he thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and tell the entire crowd at the Dream Ball Gala banquet that the Cowboys were going to win the Super Bowl the following season. Dallas was coming off a big year in which they went 12-4, and maybe Romo was feeling himself because he was coming off what was arguably the best season of his career, in which he threw for 34 touchdowns and only 9 picks while leading the league in completion percentage and quarterback rating. But he forgot 2 key factors. He is Tony Romo, and he played for the Dallas Cowboys. And as Stephen A. Smith would say, what can go wrong will go wrong. And it did go wrong. Considering, after starting 2-0, the team collapsed, losing 7 in a row and finishing 4-12. That's a long ways away from Super Bowl glory. Leaf's Super Bowl guarantee was a little less pointed, as it was made during his draft day press conference. Leaf said, "I'm looking forward to a 15-year career, a couple of trips to the Super Bowl, and a parade through downtown San Diego." And well, sadly, none of that happened. His teams were never even close to making it to the Super Bowl. Rather, Leaf flamed out of the league in damn near record time. And with all of that considered, it is still less embarrassing than Kitna's guarantee. In part because he set the bar so low and the team still missed it. I'm referencing Detroit's quarterback saying that the Lions would win 10, yes, I repeat, 10 games in the 2008 NFL season. For starters, what kind of guarantee is 10 games? Maybe enough to make it to the playoffs? Come on, John! Oh, I almost forgot the most embarrassing part of the whole fiasco. His comments just so happened to precede the Lions' infamous 0-16 season, in which he ended up losing the job within 4 starts. Yikes. But hey, which do you think was the worst failed guarantee in NFL history? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.